The mirror never lies. There's an old saying that goes, "Beware of the Ides of March." In 44 BC, a soothsayer warned Julius Caesar of this ominous day, but he chose to ignore it. And as we all know, history has remembered how that fateful day led to Caesar's demise. But it wasn't just the Ides of March that held danger. It was also the 13th hour of that day, for it was at the stroke of 1 p.m. that Caesar met his end. In history, there are very few things as dangerous as the combination of the 13th hour and the 13th month. But this spooky combination can become even more dreadful when combined with another horror: mirrors. For who could have possibly predicted what would happen when a certain couple entered our story? It had been a week since Alex moved into his new apartment, and he was still discovering new things about the place every day. Like last night, for example, when he stumbled upon a full-length mirror in his bedroom. He couldn't believe his luck. He hadn't expected such a luxury in his new home. So when he got back from work, he went straight to the bedroom and took one look at the mirror. At first, Alex loved what he saw. He was tall and good-looking, the kind of guy that people turn their heads to take a second look. He was also fit, thanks to his daily workouts, and he had a killer smile that could make any girl weak in the knees. But then his gaze drifted down, and that's when he noticed something peculiar about himself. The reflection didn't match his own features. Instead, it was those of someone else. Alex blinked, trying to figure out what was going on. But the face in the mirror remained unchanged. At first, he thought it must be some trick of the light, or maybe the mirror was slightly damaged. But the more he stared at the mirror, the more he realized this was no accident. It was showing him the face of another man. But how could this be possible? Had he accidentally entered the Twilight Zone? Or was this some cruel joke played by his subconscious? Confused and somewhat scared, Alex decided to leave the room and take his mind off of the weird incident. The next morning, when Alex woke up, he felt refreshed and ready to tackle the day. But as soon as he got up, he remembered what happened the previous evening. Curious once again, he headed to his bedroom and looked into the mirror. The same face was staring back at him, and now Alex was scared. He tried to convince himself that it was all in his head. But what if it wasn't? What if the mirror was cursed or possessed by some evil spirit? His imagination started running wild, conjuring up all sorts of scary scenarios. He thought about all the creepy mirror stories he'd heard as a kid, about Alex and other malevolent spirits that used mirrors as portals to this world. Could this be one of those cases? Determined to find an explanation, Alex called his best friend, Mark, for help. Mark was a rational person who always grounded Alex whenever he got too carried away with his imagination. As soon as Alex explained the situation, Mark burst out laughing. "Dude, you're freaking me out," Mark said between laughs. "You think you've got an evil spirit living in your mirror?" When Mark finally calmed down, he suggested that instead of wasting time on paranormal theories, Alex should focus on finding a logical explanation. Mark pointed out that the mirror could be showing Alex his exact opposite, like a negative image in a funhouse mirror. This made sense to Alex, but then why did the face shown in the mirror seem so real? It wasn't like he could tell the difference between his reflection and a picture of a stranger. The only conclusion he could come up with was that the mirror must have been enchanted. Still not convinced, Mark told Alex to simply break the mirror and get rid of it. But this idea scared Alex. What if the spirit inside the mirror retaliated when its prison was destroyed? Would it possess Alex or haunt him in other ways? As the days passed, Alex became increasingly disturbed by the mirror's presence in his apartment. Every time he caught his own eye in it, he was reminded of the horrifying possibility that there was someone else watching him, waiting for the right moment to strike. But what did this person want from him? Was it pity? Did they want to warn him of some danger? Or were they just messing with him? One night, Alex decided he had had enough. He was tired of living in fear and being unable to understand why this was happening to him. With a heavy heart, he went to his bedroom and stared directly into the mirror. He needed answers, and he was willing to do whatever it took to get them. When he looked into the mirror, he saw the usual face staring back at him, calm and serene. But suddenly, the expression changed. The man in the mirror smiled, a wide, eerie grin that sent shivers down Alex's spine. Before Alex could react, the figure in the mirror raised a finger and pointed directly at him. Then it began to move. Alex watched in horror as the man in the mirror stepped out, taking on a life of his own. The figure was tall and muscular, with sharp features and piercing eyes. It looked at Alex for a long moment, and Alex could feel his heart pounding in his chest. Then the figure spoke. "Hello, Alex," it said, its voice deep and resonant. "I have been waiting for you." Alex was too shocked to speak. He could only stare at the creature in front of him as it slowly approached him. The figure stopped in front of him and looked him up and down. "You look different," it said. "Not bad." Alex managed to find his voice. "Who are you? How did you get here?" The figure laughed, a harsh, grating sound that echoed around the room. "I am you, Alex," it said, "and I'm here because you've been hiding from me for far too long." Alex shook his head in disbelief. "I don't understand," he said. "What are you talking about?" The figure sighed. "Oh, Alex, you've blocked me out of your life for so long that you've forgotten who I am. But I'm here to remind you." As the figure spoke, images flashed through Alex's mind, memories he had long buried. He saw a young boy smiling at his reflection in a mirror, his face filled with joy. He saw that same boy growing up, becoming more sullen and withdrawn, and he saw himself as an adult, running away from his past. With each passing moment, Alex felt himself growing weaker. The figure was draining him of his strength, his will to live. Just when he thought he couldn't take any more, the figure stopped. "This is who I am," it said, holding out a hand to Alex. "And this is who you are. You can't escape from yourself, Alex. No matter where you go or what you do, I will always be with you." The figure reached out and touched Alex's forehead. In that instant, Alex felt everything. He felt the pain and sorrow of his past, the guilt and shame he had carried for so long. But he also felt a sense of peace. When he looked into the mirror, he saw not two separate individuals, but one complete whole. He understood now that he had been running from himself for years, trying to hide from the pain and suffering he had endured. But in doing so, he had only caused himself more pain. Now that he had accepted his past, he felt lighter, freer. The figure in the mirror smiled, and this time it was a kind, gentle smile. "Welcome home," it said. The next morning, Mark came over to check on Alex, worried that his friend might have done something drastic after their conversation the night before. But when he knocked on the door and no one answered, he became alarmed. He tried the doorknob and found the door was unlocked. As he stepped inside, he saw that the apartment was in complete disarray. Clothes and furniture were overturned, and there was a large crack in the wall. Mark called out for Alex, but there was no answer. Suddenly, he heard a noise from the bedroom, and he rushed to see what was going on. He found Alex lying on the floor, his eyes wide open and staring blankly ahead. Mark screamed in horror as he realized what had happened. The mirror in the bedroom was gone, leaving behind only a small pile of shards. And in the center of the mess lay Alex, his face pale and lifeless. As the police arrived at the scene, they found no signs of a struggle or forced entry. It seemed as though Alex had taken his own life. But as they investigated further, they found something strange. On the nightstand next to the bed, they found a small piece of paper with a single sentence written on it. "The mirror never lies."